Hey Chickadees, welcome to a new video. Today I will be doing the Show Us Your Stash hashtag, created by Sian of Kittenish Behaviour and Dani of Pick Up a Pocket or Two. It's a bit of a mouthful, and it's just a way to look through other seamstresses' stashes. Obviously, we can't do it in person and we can't go out fabric shopping in big groups at the moment, so just to kind of connect us all, we just looking through each other's materials. So there's 8 questions and I have fabrics for pretty much all of them. There is one where it covers 2 questions, so let's get started. Number 1, what is your favourite fabric in your stash? At the moment, I don't actually have that big a stash. If you watched my KonMari video, the latest one I've done, you saw that I kind of really reduced down my personal stash. I still have a very big selling stash, but my personal one isn't that big. But I think looking at it now, my favourite one is probably this broderie fabric that I got from Calico Lane, and it's just a white cotton with this geometric square pattern on it, and I think it's so lovely, so bold but subtle at the same time. I do kind of wish the cotton was a bit softer, but I'm hoping with a couple of washes it'll, soften up really nicely. But this is probably my favourite one at the moment. I think I've mentioned before in one of my vlogs that I prefer textures over patterns, and this, really fits the bill. The second question is, what is your oldest fabric? Now, I can't actually work out which is my oldest in terms of which one I bought the longest ago, but I do have an oldest as in age. So this fabric is the Bramble fabric from Laura Ashley. It's in this Kingfisher blue colour. I do have a couple of meters left on my eBay, which I'll link down below for you, but this is going to become a bag, and this is from 1989. And I do have a couple of Laura Ashley fabrics which are older than this. If you're on my Instagram, you'll see that I made a carpet bag with a red fabric, and I don't know how old that fabric is. It's really narrow and there is nothing printed on the selvage, so it's not a Laura Ashley, but we figured out that it is at least Designers Guild, which Laura Ashley was a part of. So I'll pop a picture somewhere, and if anyone has any more information and maybe a year or a designer, pop it in the comments and I'll be really interested to kind of solve this mystery a bit more, because it's such a lovely fabric. And again, it will be in my eBay, which I'll list down below for you. But this one is the oldest fabric in my stash. So number 3, which fabric are you scared to cut into? This fabric was bought for me from Singapore. Last time my parents went over to Australia and stopped over in Singapore, they usually get me a bit of fabric every time they do that, and just this fabric is gorgeous, but it's got this lovely border on it. And I know Sian's just done a video where she shows all her border prints and what she's going to do with it. So I suppose I could actually make some floaty trousers with it. It's synthetic as far as I can tell. I haven't done a burn test, but it is quite see-through on some bits, so I think it would be quite airy. And I think that would actually be a really nice use of this pattern. Originally, I was thinking of doing a kind of late bustle era dress and have this as an overlay, but a very kind of straight overlay rather than really draped and ruchy. Just have a really straight pleated one, which would show off the pattern really nicely as well. But I don't know if I would ever wear that dress, basically. But I could probably see myself wearing some wraparound trousers or a wraparound skirt in this for the summer, because I don't have a lot of floaty things for the summer, and as much as I love wearing all my Victorian gear, it's just so warm in the summer and I need to find an alternative. So I think what I'll do is I'll do a burn test on this. I think it's going to be mostly synthetic, but because it's very sheer and see-through in some bits, I think it will make a really nice wraparound skirt. And I have quite a large amount of it. Oh, it could also be like a wraparound tea gown or robe. I've got ideas now. I'll have to rewatch Sean's border print video because I kind of had it on in the background. So I wasn't paying too much attention to it. Number 4, a fabric you don't know what to do with. If you've been with me for any length of time, you would know that I bought a bunch of fabric, I think it was last year or the year before, to do some family inspired photos with. So I went to Cheltenham, bought a load of fabric, and I bought this. However, this is not black as I thought it was in the store. This is actually a very, very, very dark green. And I didn't want to use it for the project I was originally going to use for it. So I bought some new fabric to go with the project, and then I've just had this lying around since then. And the only thing I can think to do with it is to make some cord trousers for James for what would have been our Victorian weekend a couple of weekends ago in Bath. But I've got 5 meters of it, and I just don't know whether it's worth just putting it on eBay just to get it out my stash, or, you know, make some trousers and maybe some skirts with it. I don't know, because it's not, as much as I love cord, it's just not, it doesn't call to me. We'll think about that one, whether I sell it on eBay or I find something to make with it. Question 5 is a fabric with a story, and question 6 is a very precious fabric, and why? And for both those questions, my answer would be this silk. This is the first silk taffeta that I've ever worked with, or will be working with, and I was going to use it for my ball gown for the postponed prior attire ball in May, and it took a lot to find this fabric. Originally went to Goldhawk Road with all the peeps and Sean in January, I think it was. Maybe it was slightly before. No, it was January, because I was hoping there would be some sales on. And we went round and round and round, and originally I wanted a lavender taffeta. I had it in my head that it's going to be lavender and cream lace and, you know, all nice. But unfortunately, I just couldn't find a taffeta that was the right shade of lavender. I was being very picky and was in my price range. So I was a bit disappointed, but I went back a month later with James and we went around all the shops again, and strangely enough, I did actually find a lavender taffeta in the shade I wanted for £20 a metre, which was in Misan, which is quite a high-end shop, and I was quite annoyed with myself that I didn't have a proper look or ask, you know, one of the people about what price it was. When we went there the second time, there was only just under 2 meters left on the roll, so nowhere near enough for a ball gown. But I was really annoyed at myself that I didn't properly look the first time, and I just kind of writ off the shop as being, oh, that they'll never have anything with my budget. But it was £20 a metre as well, exactly on my budget. Anyway, we went around the shops, and annoyingly enough, this was the first shop we went to, but I wanted to have a look at everything, and this plum just called to me. So it's kind of a royal purple with a more plum, creamy, almost gold shot. It's very, very subtle, but it really works well together and comes out with this lovely shimmery plum colour. And I'm not actually that scared to cut into it. I thought I would be, you know, it's not really expensive. It's £22 a metre. You know, if I mess it up, I'm going to have to go back to London, but I'm not actually that scared to cut into it. I'm just really excited to start getting on with it. Obviously, I can't until, you know, the quarantine's over a bit more, I can pop into the studio every now and then, but I don't want to be, you know, in here and working. I'd rather do that at home. I can do lots of things at home. And at the moment I'm working on my collection anyway. So this has taken a back seat, but I am really excited to start working on it. Number 7, what is your dream fabric? Apart from the lavender taffeta, which I will one day have in my hands, a lavender silk taffeta, I think probably my dream fabric would just be swathes of really fine Irish linen and really fine cotton voile. I just think I can imagine myself just floating around in really nice, light, flowy fabrics. There's the kind of an in-joke between me and James that I'm very plain, but I am. And I just prefer plain, non-patterned fabrics. I'm just not a patterned kind of person. It's great for bags and accessories, but on me I prefer to stick with just plain colours. Number 8, where do you keep your fabric? I keep my fabric here in my studio. I have a shelf dedicated to my personal stash so that I can see it and I know what I've got, and if I have an idea I can think, oh, do I have a suitable material for that? And I'll put a link to my KonMari video and my studio tour up in the iCards and down in the description, so you can have a look at the way I store my fabric. So I hope you enjoyed just this quick little tag video. It was quite fun to look through my fabrics and, you know, actually think about them in relation to the questions. Everything I've mentioned will be in the down bar below if you want to go down and check it out. Whilst you're down there, if you want to like, comment and subscribe, that's really, really helpful, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.